All right, sitting here the second episode of Brotherly Love Boxing Show. We sitting here with Fred Jenkins, man who needs no introduction to boxing in my eyes. How you doing, Fred?
Good, good.
How long you been involved in boxing?
1971.
Since 71. So I heard that at a very young age you started coaching. How old were you?
19.
19 years old.
Yeah.
And what drove you to coaching at 19?
I had an injury and I couldn't fight because of my hand. And I was off about 2 years. I stayed in the gym. I was helping the guys out. And that's how I started to be a coach.
Okay. Now, over your years, you came across a lot of talent, I would say. How did you handle it? Like, was it too much for you at one time, or was it just happened?
It took one day at a time. You had to make it, whatever situation I had or came across, I had to make it work one way or another. So it was just dipping and dabbing this way, dipping and dabbing that way, making sure I complete the task, whatever the task was.
Now, I heard also that you came across, but you trained your first world champion at a young age. How old were you?
He was 23, I was 25.
25. So y'all was like friends.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, what would you say some of the ups and downs of coaching? You can start with the downs if you want first, or the ups.
When you put all your time in with a fight and you walk away from it, that's the down part.
Right.
You don't walk away when you're broke. You walk away when you get the money.
Okay.
Then you decide to walk away.
Okay. Now, how about the ups?
Get a victory. Whether it's an amateur or pro, as long as you get a victory.
Now, I always notice over my years in Philadelphia boxing, you always manage to give back to the kids, or make sure you keep something going for the kids. You know, how do you manage your time with that, dealing with pro fighters, and then taking time off for amateurs?
In order to deal with the pros, I have to work with the amateurs that keep me going. You know what I mean? Teaching a young man how to fight or how to protect himself. It doesn't mean he has to turn pro. It's just being able to teach him the sport.
Now, dealing with boxing over the years, would you have chose anything else for yourself, or just boxing?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I would have chose anything else. Should have stayed in school to be a doctor or a lawyer. Yeah.
So boxing is that tough, huh?
Yeah, if you know what I know, you can run away from it.
I hear you. Now, could you explain what makes you different from any other coach coming out, not just coming out of Philadelphia, but being that you're from Philadelphia? How did that help you?
Well, first of all, you got to realize my coaching job is in the hood, and mainly I have to be able to protect myself and protect the fighters when they come in the neighborhood. And that's the big difference. I had fighters come from all over, and the neighborhood knew if they was at the gym, they was free to come back and forth without having any problem.
That's deep. That's deep. Now, did you ever have to put yourself out there in a dangerous situation? I mean, of course you just answered that, but so serious over one of your fighters?
Not just the fighters, only the kids that come in the playground. There's always a fight outside. There's always an argument. There's always a big argument in the basketball gym. You gotta go down there and make the peace and everything. There's always an argument at night when it's time to close. The kids don't want to leave. Some of the adults don't want to leave. They want to stay there 12 o'clock when we close at 9.
Right.
So it's always got to go down there and tell them it's over for the night. If they don't want to leave, then you got to put them out.
Yeah, that's deep. Now, a lot of people don't understand dealing with the multiple personalities, the multiple athletes. How do you take time out for yourself in between that?
I've been blessed. Got a good wife, got a good family. I got a family that loves me. And been blessed with a family that I love. It keeps me going every day. When I'm down and out, my family lifts me up. And not only my family, sometimes when I come in here,
I gotta get some real ones.
an athlete can have more problems than me. And if he can get through his problems, I know I can get through mine.
That's right. I hear you.
Different personalities come in every day. You know, you got to deal with everything. You got females that come in, you got males that come in. Everybody got a problem. And you got to be a master psychologist. Try to work with them, keep them focused on becoming a fighter.
That's deep. You said that. A master psychologist without even going to school for it, huh?
Yeah.
Now, coming across as much talent as you've seen over.
Sorry, I'm gonna run for lunch real quick. When I get back, I need you to go up to the computer lab. I'm gonna do your mandate training for you. But I'm gonna need your information.
Now, coming across all of the talent that you have seen over the years, how are you able to identify a kid with special ability or just an average fighter?
Well, that's why the door's open. You don't know you don't know what's walking through. Or you don't know who's walking through. Everybody is a somebody.
Okay.
Everybody that walks in the door is important. They can be used for one thing or another.
Okay.
Every fighter is valuable. No matter what their skills is. You gotta be able to enhance their skills, to be able to use their skills to develop other fighters, to take them to another level. No matter what the skill is, you can benefit from that individual.
That's interesting. I think that's a great answer. Now, when you dealing with a fighter of let's say a high magnitude, do you still make time for the lower tier fighters?
Whoever walks in the door gets the same attention. And not unless a fighter has a fight lined up, he's supposed to get all the attention. Whoever's in line for the next fight, whether he's an amateur, whether he's a pro, it falls in line. Whoever lined up for a fight, that's the guy you got to make sure ready.
Now, also over my years of watching you, I always noticed your team has always been more like family. Is that more important than just running the gym and having the guy come in?
You just can't train anybody. You got to have a personality. You got to click. You know what I mean? I can't train nobody that don't like me or I don't like them. How could you get the best out of them? You can't get the best out of them. You got to be some kind of connection and some kind of respect for each other and everything. Some type of morals in each individual and myself in the fight. If you, that guy, don't have no values, no morals, it's kind of hard to really focus on and train. But he can be taught different values as we go along if you stay around and listen. A good listener can become any kind of fighter if he's a good listener.
Now I'm hearing in boxing they starting to say most of the coaches you see on TV they're calling those guys the experienced guys, and some of them in my eyes have just lucked up on a guy who can punch, and I think it takes away from guys like you because you've been around so long, seen so much. You know how you feel about that.
You know about the history books. The history books been written telling you about the Civil War, telling you about past history and stuff like that. And all the books are written wrong. So basically, the real truth always never comes to the top. The real truth never comes to the top. If you want to speak on real truth, you got to come back down in the hood and where the fighting starts from the bottom. And everybody recognize the fighter once he gets to the top, but they don't know how he got there. So they think they got the recipe once he's already there, and you see most of the guys that make it to the top, they end up falling back down.
Now, how come you hear about most fighters that make it, or either the really good fighters, how come most of them are from the hood? What is it about the hood that makes a great fighter?
Well, diversity and surviving in the hood You know what I mean? Kid gotta know how to go to school. You know what it takes to walk 8 blocks to your school through this neighborhood. You gotta know how to duck and dodge, and you know how to keep away from certain people to get to school safe. Especially when school let out, you gotta know how to maneuver through the crowd to get back home.
Yeah.
There's always some type of strategy that you gotta have in life. And most of our kids in this neighborhood, they learn it early. So it's the same thing when you come to the gym. There's different strategies you gotta learn to survive in the gym, especially when you're in the four squares of the ring.
Right. So it's like the instincts are very high from a young age.
That's right.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, now I'm gonna ask you one last question if you got it, because I know you gotta get to work. Now, being in this game for how long that you've been in the game, what's one thing that you would change now that used to go on back then, from when you started?
One thing I would change.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of.
It's the same thing now than it was back then.
You would say that?
Yeah, the same thing now was back then. Only thing I would change is more fights.
More fights.
More fights.
Okay.
Not enough fights.
Right.
Not enough venue. And not enough coach. Not enough promoters looking at the bottom of the list using the regular fighters instead of using all the stars.
Okay. I see what
So
you're saying.
back then, even now, you can take an ordinary guy that actually can stand up to a champ. All you gotta do is give him an opportunity. And most ordinary guys from the hood would stand up there and need a chance. You know what I mean? If you go back through boxing history, you got guys that had 8 or 9 fights and ended up fighting for the title. And they stood up. You know, we can go from one Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks. Leon Spinks had about 9 fights.
Right.
He fought Muhammad Ali for the title.
Right.
And he won the fight. You know, even though he lost in the rematch, but he won the first fight.
Yeah, you
So
see
there's
it.
stories like that all over. But the commission won't let the guys get those opportunities.
And why do you think that is?
In politics, you know what I mean? Promoters want to control their fighter. They don't want to give them outside.
Gotta look good for TV, huh?
Yeah.
All right, it was definitely a pleasure talking to you, friend. I appreciate the opportunity, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, I hope your program will get bigger.
Thank you, friend.